The Trump trial is not going to happen before the election. The Georgia Court of Appeals has made sure that by setting an October 4th date to hear the appeal of the refusal to disqualify DA Fani Willis from the case, Judge Scott McAfee denied the joint motion of Trump and other co-defendants on April 4th. Trump appealed this ruling, and the Court of Appeals eventually agreed to accept the appeal. Judge McAfee ordered that pretrial motions and discovery should continue while that appeal is pending. Still, with the appeals court setting oral arguments so far out, there's no possible way this case will go to trial before the election. The motion sought to disqualify Willis and her office from prosecuting the case and also asked the court to dismiss the indictment because of Willis's romantic relationship with Nathan Wade. The court was satisfied their relationship did not begin until after Wade started working for the DA's office. Although McAfee denied the defense motion, he did order Wade to be removed from the case. Renita, I said this from the outset, that this right here was an error on the part of Fani Willis and Nathan Wade. That what we've seen in the past several months, this trial has been delayed because of that. Both of them should have had enough sense to say, this is going to be a problem. You don't create problems. You try to be as clean as possible. And so now, as a result of this is not going to trial this year. This one is on DA Fani Willis. Renita?
Absolutely. I agree. The Trump lawyers, their tactic the entire time has been that they want to do anything they can to delay the trial going because they know that once we have the election, if Trump is elected, he can make all of this go away. So their whole tactics have been delay. They file appeals when they know they have no shot of winning them, which I think is what this is. But it does serve the purpose that they want, which is to delay this as much as possible so that there will not be a decision. No trial can be held before the presidential election. So I agree with you. This is a case that I've continued to pay a lot of attention to because I was in the committee, in the room when the Trump lawyers came before my committee and asked us to throw out the votes of Georgians and try to basically steal the presidential election, which is what they are basically charged with in the indictment that Fani Willis did. So I do think that I agree with you, Roland. It was a complete misstep by the DA to allow herself to sort of give them something to work with in, just delaying this trial.
She served up on a silver platter, Congo, pure and simple.
Yeah, it's frustrating, man. And to see this happen, to also see what the Justice Department did as it relates to taking 14 months to bring up their case against Trump, him and his lawyers take every advantage they can. And yes, this is something that lays at the hand of Fani Willis. You can't slip up as it relates to these guys because they exploit every single thing. And so, to be quite honest, I know these are state charges and things, but it's kind of like, I hate to agree with Don Jr. or whichever Trump son said that the November election is really going to be the time for the ultimate verdict. We can't depend on these trials to deliver anything for us. Yes, we can call him a convicted felon now, and we're going to see what happens on July 11th. But still, we have to continue to stay vigilant because too many of us put our faith in these trials and these attorneys and these different states, and it's just not enough to stop this man. November 5th, that is the date for the final verdict on Donald Trump.
Julian?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm so disappointed in my soror, Fani Willis. Just so disappointed in her lack of judgment. But it is what it is. And moving forward, as Renita said, these folks basically delay, deny. We're even seeing it with the New York case. We've seen it with the Florida case where the judge is one of the man's appointees, and she has thrown everything in but the kitchen sink. We see it in the D.C. case. We see it in the Supreme Court pondering whether or not he has blanket immunity for any crime he commits, which he asserted in 2016 that he had when he said he could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and get away with it. So Fani Willis played into their hands. The heart wants what the heart wants, but the heart could have waited for it because, frankly, basically, as I think Congo said, she served herself up on a silver platter. I don't wish to diss the sister or, throw her under the bus, but this was a huge tactical error. And taking it to October 4th means this will not be heard until after the election. Now, this does say one thing, though. if y'all want justice, I say y'all, because there's some of y'all people out there who, I'm not going to vote. I don't like Biden, which is stupidity. It's compounded stupidity. And if you're mad about me calling you stupid, JulianMalvo@AOL.com. You stupid. Because basically this will not be adjudicated any place but at the ballot box.
Somebody's killing poor people, and it's going on.
When COVID happened, poor people were dying at a rate already of 800 people a day. Before COVID. If you went to a funeral every single day, it would take you 600 years to attend all the funerals of the people who will die from the ravages of policy violence, poverty, and low wages in America in just 1 year. It would take you 2 years and 19 days to go to all of the funerals of the people that will die today, and oftentimes silence. Nobody talks about this political genocide, but we are determined today to remember their death and be a resurrection of voting power and voice power like never before.
Economic justice and saving this democracy are deeply connected. We, as a nation, must listen to the demands of the poor, who are pushing and will continue to push political candidates and elected leaders to lift from the bottom so that everybody can rise.
Take back the mic, take back the mic, take back the mic, take back the mic.
We are the poor, the marginalized, and the underpaid. And we are taking one step forward to say that everybody has a right to live.
Poverty is not the fault of those who are impoverished. It is caused by those who make the policy.
There are over 135 million poor and low-wage, low-income people in this nation.
The biggest block of potential voters by far is low-income, low-wage voters.
I can't afford medicine. Sometimes I have to skip because of the cost.
The farm worker community is tired of the violence imposed upon us by greed, exclusion, and denial of basic human rights.
Those folk that represented by that casket, poor and low-wage workers who are the most moral people in this country because they go to work every day believing, even though going to work is hazardous to their health.
I'm tired of working 70 to 80 hours a week and still not have money for the necessity of bills. I'm tired of getting sick and not being able to go see the doctor. Having to make a choice to pay between rent or the light bill or food or clothes.
You cannot claim to care about families and a culture of life and then do everything in your power to rob people of equal access to resources and to force them to live in poverty.
Leadership of both parties had waged war on poor people and low-wage workers.
And this government has treated people experiencing poverty, including their military families, with disdainful, deliberate, malicious neglect.
So the truth is that my son died from poverty.
We refuse to accept poverty as the fourth leading cause of death.
The fourth leading cause of death in this, the richest country in the world.
We march today for our children and the generations to come.
And we need to do it with the loudest voices possible, the biggest actions possible.
We will voice our demands and register our vote.
When we stand up and when we stand together, things change.
There is the electorate that is, and then there is the electorate that should be.
34 million eligible poor and low-income voters did not vote in 2016. If just 20% of those voters in swing states were mobilized around an agenda, they could change the political outcome of every election. So we're launching the most massive voter mobilization and turnout campaign in history of poor and low-wage voters, allies, and religious leaders.
People are dying, but we know it doesn't have to be this way. And so we are calling on everyone to join us in this Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival.
We are here, we will be seen, we will be heard, and our power will be felt. We don't need to be an insurrection. We are a resurrection that will be felt across this country. Are you ready? Ready, ready, ready. We are a resurrection, and we are ready. And